begin our proactive reload, which you also may know as either the tactical reload, topping off the gun, or the administrative reload, we first have to understand why we're accomplishing this. This is when we decide to reload the gun. We are behind some piece of relative cover or safety, and we have shot some number of rounds downrange. And before we move out into the unknown, I want to ensure that I have a fully topped off gun. So, to set myself up for success, I'm always going to place my magazines with the bullets facing towards the gun itself in my magazine pouches. And since this is a proactive reload and I can decide it is time to reload, I'm always going to choose that rearmost magazine so that way I leave my front one always ready for an emergency reload. Now, in proactive reloads, we want to do two things. We want to ensure that we minimize the amount of time that there is no magazine in the gun while removing that partial, but also ensuring that we store that partial away so we retain those extra rounds that come out of that magazine. Now, when we are conducting this proactive reload, I come out from behind cover, shoot some number of rounds, and before I leave my relative safety, I'm going to retrieve that partial magazine or that brand new magazine. I'll do so by placing the index finger along the front of the magazine and the base in the palm. And what this allows me to do is drop that index finger down to my thumb, creating that OK symbol, which lets me know it's OK to release that thumb. In this space provided, I will drop off that current partial magazine, insert that brand new magazine off the palm, and then while retaining that partial, stow it away. This allows me to have a brand new topped off magazine as I go into that fight. To begin our combat reload, also known as the speed reload, the emergency reload, or the slide lock reload, we'll start by placing our emergency magazine, the first one available, with the rounds towards the gun itself. Now, on an emergency reload, unlike the proactive reload, instead of us getting to decide it is time to reload the gun, our slide locking to the rear will indicate that, hey, it is now time to reload this gun. Now, the first thing I have to do is, of course, get rid of that first magazine, that empty one. And unlike the proactive reload, where we want to retain that partial magazine, there is no longer a reason to keep this one, so we will now let it drop to the floor. I will show you 4 ways in which we can reach this magazine release to drop this magazine. The first of which being the flick method. That is where I flick the gun into a position where my thumb can now reach that magazine release. The second is the drag method. My support hand on the gun will have a job, and that job is to get to the partial or to the brand new magazine. But on the way there, I am going to go ahead and drag that pistol into position using the friction of my hand and get it in a position where I can reach that magazine release. The third method is the middle finger method, and that is where I will simply press that magazine with the middle finger. And then the fourth method is the support hand method. So I take that support hand, and before I make my way to my magazine, I will go ahead, hit that magazine release, and drop that magazine. Now, once that magazine is out of the gun, I will retrieve my spare by creating an L shape with my hand and following along that rib cage so that I can then grab that magazine. Notice that my finger ends up in the same place as that proactive reload, finger along the front, the palm wrapping around the base. Once I have completed this step here, I am prepared to do my combat reload. I will then notice I have an empty firearm. It is time to reload. I will drop that magazine, grab my next source of ammunition, insert. I will run the slide either using the slide release or pulling back on the slide itself, chambering that round and getting ready to fire again. And in real time, what this will look like, bang, I have run out, and then I am back on target. To begin the draw stroke and getting the gun out of the holster, we're first going to break it down into 4 steps. The first step is indexing the firearm and indexing that support hand. The first thing we want to do is, of course, find the firearm to make sure we can get a good grip and set ourselves up for success in getting a 2-handed grip by identifying that chest. Part 2 is going to drive down, getting a high firing grip on the firearm while simultaneously releasing whatever safeties you have. From there, we will draw the firearm out of the holster and immediately orient towards the thread itself. and then we'll use that thumb to index that rib cage up to a two-handed grip. From position 3 out to 4, we'll push to full extension, bringing those sights up to our eyes, not our eyes down to the sights. This will ensure that we can get the first combat effective hit and be the first person to get rounds on target. To begin our pistol malfunctions, we first have to identify the types of malfunctions. The 3 types of pistol mechanical malfunctions are the failure to feed, the stovepipe, and the double feed. Let's go ahead and identify how to set up and clear each one. On the failure to feed, what we'll do is we'll begin with an empty pistol. We will take that magazine and place it either partially or all the way in the gun. And when we begin our practice, we will press out to full extension. When we press that trigger, when it goes click, we will tap the bottom of the magazine, rack the slide, and then press that trigger one more time. This is the tap, rack, bang, and it is the fastest way to clear this type of malfunction. The second type of malfunction you might have is the stovepipe. To set this up, we will take a free round and we will gently place it inside the breech of the pistol, capturing it right there. And then we will take the magazine and we will insert it into the bottom of the pistol. Now, when I begin to press the trigger, we will notice that the trigger will not function. So again, the fastest way to clear a stovepipe is the tap, rack, bang. For a double feed malfunction, we'll begin with 2 rounds in the magazine itself, 1 round out, and then we will lock the slide to the rear. Keeping gravity as our friend, we'll place that round right there inside the chamber. We'll then take that spare magazine and throw it in the back of the gun. Gently allow that slide to go forward, and we have now induced a double feed malfunction. The standard tap, rack, bang is not going to fix this. So in order to resolve this particular malfunction, we will begin with locking the slide back to the rear, allowing us to strip that magazine out. We will run the slide to clear any object that may be in there in case the round doesn't come out. And then we'll go into a modified tap, rack, bang. I'm now going to walk you through the 101 drill, or weapons handling 101, which will incorporate everything you should be proficient at in order to run that firearm proficiently. The way we are going to start this drill is we will have an empty magazine in the firearm with an empty chamber. We'll holster that up, and then we will place our snap caps in our spare magazine. Now, this drill will incorporate 1 draw stroke, 1 side alignment sight picture, 1 trigger press, 1 malfunction drill, tap, rack, bang. It will induce a emergency reload. We will conduct 1 combat reload, a 2nd side alignment sight picture, a 2nd trigger press, and then we'll bring it back into 3. From here, everything is skills based. It is not a scenario. We will identify our magazine, and since we've practiced the emergency reload, we've practiced coming out of the holster, we've practiced the malfunction. The last skill we need to practice is that proactive reload. So, muzzle oriented in a safe direction, we will safely retrieve that spare magazine, orient it in our hand appropriately to conduct that proactive reload we learned before, stow that magazine away, and the drill is complete. Backstage exclusive. If you found some of those other drills too remedial, let's go ahead and spicy it up. Let's do it all one hand. So we're going to run our 101 drill, single hand, get that support hand out of the way. It's going to begin, of course, with that draw stroke. First side line of sight picture, trigger press. Click, tap rack, nothing happens. Emergency reload, we'll drop that magazine, we'll come in with our brand new one. Then we'll come out with our second side alignment side picture, second trigger press. From here, we're magically gonna blow that second hand back because the proactive reload only works when you have two hands. So we'll go ahead, we'll conduct and keep on going. Let me break this down for you. Here are some things you should not do. As in, do not come to my class and do these things. 1, have a really dirty gun. 2, have a Serpa or Serpa style holster. 3, your leather holsters, your under the arm holsters, small of the back holsters. No. This is not a duty belt. It is duty. Have a real belt. It doesn't have to have all the pouches. It just needs to be a quality gun belt. Don't point your gun at me. You don't like it, neither do I. So unless you want to see the end of my muzzle, stop pointing it at me. Come in close for this one. Your eye pro and ear pro, have your own. No, I'm not gonna let you borrow some. You dirty person, go buy your own. This is a class. You may want to take notes. Bring a pen and paper. Ammunition. You need 50 rounds. This is ball ammunition. You need 45 rounds. This is self-defense ammunition. You need 5 rounds. You need both. Just don't bring them in the classroom. This is a watch. Get one. Be on time. Let's talk about what on time means. On time means show up early. If you're early, you're on time. If you're on time, go away. Go to the range and practice before you show up. It's not an easy qualification. Make sure you know how to shoot before you come to class. How hard is that?
Just do it!
Just do it!